Hello, good evening, welcome. My name is Kwabena. I want to share with you briefly, what I call be interested in the well-being of people. Be interested in the well-being of people. People matter. Be interested in the well-being of people. People matter. Life is more fulfilling, or life is fulfilling if people are important to you. If what you show interest in, if what is of utmost importance to you has something to do with the well-being of people, life becomes meaningful and fulfilling. Whenever there's a problem, whenever there's say fire outbreak or there's an accident, and they get to the scene, usually when they are reporting, they first of all talk of the number of lives that were involved in the incident. In all life, that which is most precious is the human life. Is the human life. And in cultures, in countries, in nations, in families where people have been trained to give priority to humans and to make decisions to make life a little bit more comfortable for people, those are the nations that develop. After all, what is development? Is making sure that the people are prioritized. The people the people live in dignity. The people live in less stressful conditions. And the more you see countries, families, communities, cultures give attention to that which is in the best interest of their people, you can see that the country decides or starts to develop and starts to become better. If you have children, or if you have two children, and you see that there is one of them who is always interested in the well-being of the others, when they have food, they want to share it with the brother or the sister. When they have something, they are always thinking of others more than themselves. Usually what the parents say is that this one is wise, this one has something special. Why? Because the more attention you have towards the well-being of people, the more interest you show in the well-being of people, the more wise, or the wiser you are. The wiser you are. And so it's a gift that it's something that you can develop. It's something that I can develop, and we develop that by practicing it and showing, prioritizing people, paying attention to people, giving attention to that which is of utmost importance to the well-being of people. There are many people who are living with a lot of difficulties in our country, and there are some of them, or some of us, who also have something that we can easily use to make life comfortable for others. The training that we have had, the culture that we are coming from, the environment that we have grown up in, they should teach us to prioritize human beings. That's the difference between countries that are developing and countries that are struggling. Countries struggle because the people are the least, they don't give attention to the people, especially to the ones that are poor and that are marginalized. The moment people give attention to those we think are suffering, the more wise, or the wiser we become. So it's a gift that I think every one of us, I think it's a fair sign of wisdom. Actually, it's a fair sign of wisdom, where you the love that you have for people, the interest that you show in people, in your transactions, in your daily activities, in the position that you are. Do you prioritize the people? Do you give attention to that which is important to people? Do people's pain get to you? And do you personally express interest in people you work with people in your community, wherever that you go? Do you express interest in them? It shows the humanity, because if you don't develop humanity, everything that we are looking for is useless. Anytime that somebody else is dead, that which we usually hear of is their heart for the people. Their heart. Whenever you hear them talk of anything which is worthy of anybody who maybe a leader who just died, you know, what you hear is the heart that they express for the people. The heart. It's not the heart they show to the prominent. Oh. No, it's not the heart like the way we had our former vice president just passed. And whatever that you're hearing is that, oh, he was a good man. 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 It's not just his colleagues with big positions saying that he's a good man. People that he didn't know, people that maybe even if he helped would not make any difference, would not bring any gain, they are saying that the man was good. And for me, that is the essence of living, where you prioritize people, and you don't have to help people just because of what you will get. You help people because you know that people matter. At the end of it, if everything that you have and there's no, let's say you live in a whole village. You know? Sometimes I ask myself, if life were to be, you know, if I were the only one person in life, or in my world, or in Ghana, how would life be? The only reason you wake up and you're able to call somebody on your phone is because there's another human being somewhere. You know, you don't talk to animals, you don't talk to the houses, the cars. Even if you have a nice house or if you have a nice car, let's face it, if others don't come to admire it, what do you gain from that? It doesn't matter. So people matter. People are important. And we should teach our people, we should teach our children. If they are not even good in school and they learn this ability to pay attention to people and to listen to people and to hear their pain and be willing to do something about it, that skill alone will make them great. Will make them great. Because people gravitate. That's what I've seen. People everywhere gravitate to people who have good heart. We have wicked men, we have wicked women in this life, but always people remember the good ones, those who did. You know, let's say all your life, the primary school teacher that you remember most, the ones that you try to see, you try to go and find where they are the ones who showed interest in you. They are the ones who expressed confidence in you. They are the ones who showed love to you. You know, they say that you cannot serve God until you serve people. You cannot genuinely even love God if you don't love people. Genuinely. So which means that the proof of even our love for God can only be substantiated by the love that we have for people. You know, so when you see somebody saying that they know God and they believe in God and they are spiritual, it's not about them saying it with their mouth, but it's about them practicing it to another person. You know, that's the proof of your belief that you say you have in God. It's not the mastery, it's not the supernatural, it's not the miracles, it's not the magic that people are performing. It's the love that we show to people. That's the most important thing. That is the most important thing for me in this life. So people matter. Develop that ability or develop that heart to be genuinely interested in the well-being of people. They don't have to look like you. They don't have to have the same tribe. They don't have to be of the same sex. They don't even have to have the same skin color, or they don't even have to have the same political, those things. You don't have to be of the same political party for you to have special interest in people. You just have to have special interest in people, and if it's in your power to help any human, you do it because people are important. The treasure is in people. Human beings were made to be loved. Human beings were made to be cherished and regarded and appreciated. That's the human nature. That's why anywhere that you go and you have these things, people pay attention to you. If you see any leader who is cruel, who is insensitive, people complain. People talk about them. They say this guy is not wise. Why they say a leader is not wise is because he is not sensitive to the plight of other people, to the plight, to the difficulties that people are going through. When they say that somebody is not wise, it's because they become so much self-centered. Nobody else is important to them. Everything must be about them. People matter. People matter. And for me, if you want a very successful, enjoyable, fulfilling life, prioritize this. Wherever you are, you cannot satisfy everybody. You cannot be at peace with every human being. That's your reality. Some people will never like you. Some people will hate you. But let their dislike, let their hatred be on something that cannot be substantiated. Let be on something that is only based on their own worldview, from their own struggles, from their own life. It should not be because you were such a cruel person to them, because you are such a bad person to them, because you maltreated them, you're unkind, you are unforgiving, you were wicked to them. That's why they say that you are not a good person. Let what people say about you be the things that they are saying, that may not necessarily be true, but out of gossip. So it's a good skill. It's a good skill, and it can work everywhere of life when you have genuine heart, which is so much interested in the well-being of people. And if you have anything that you can do to help people, do it. If you have any gift that you can do to help people, you do it. That is the essence for me of life. There's nothing. If you become the president of our country, if you become a top CEO, the richest person in the world, everything that you are gathering in this life, you gather them so that you can express this interest in people. If everything that you are gathering, if you become a president and you acquire everything all by yourself, great presidents have genuine interest in the well-being of their people. They prioritize the people. Africa is going to be great, and Africa is going to start to be great when we prioritize our people. When the decisions that we are making are in the well-being of the people. Say political positions, academic or religious positions, everything that we are doing is they must be for the good of our people. And the way you talk to people, the way you cherish people, the way you reply people, the way you pay attention to people. If somebody is in your presence, they should feel like they are full human beings, fully capable. If somebody, male or female, child, could be child, or whether children or grown-ups, there should be that heart that expresses fully love for people. So you when you see somebody in difficulty, how do you feel? Does it get your attention, and do you do something about it? And or do you are the kind that will just pound, you just get into the situation because you want an advert for yourself? Do you get to help people because you are doing it selflessly, or you want a benefit from it? Just be genuinely interested in people. That's one of the greatest gifts of achievement, is when you do something with the mind that this one will bring the best to people. Because every product that they are making, every system that they are building, every machine that they are building, all the things that we hear, who do they build them for? They build them for people. They build them for people. Every great achiever that we hear, what did they achieve in? The end result was for people. So if you want to reverse engineer, if you can start from the love of people, everything that you are doing with your life will connect you to greatness, because you have genuine interest in the well-being of people. You are not the one who is quick to take advantage of people. You are not the one who is quick to destroy people. You are not the one who is quick to just destroy what others have built. When you're genuinely interested in people, when they're doing something, when everybody else is saying that it's not good, when everybody else is saying is trying to discourage them, when you show up, your difference will be felt. It will be known. And that's a sign of a great person. That's a sign of a great person. So prioritize people. Give priority to people. If you're a manager, if you're president, if you're a minister, if you're president, whatever you are, all the decisions that you make, if you put the well-being of your people first, people will always remember that. And that's why countries, I mean, third world nations that have been able to move themselves to whatever, first world, is because they started to give priorities to their people. For instance, they talk of education. How are you going to develop as a country if you don't prioritize the education of your people? I can't get it. It's so basic, yet it's beaten Africans for years. How can you debate sending your people to school? I can't get it. It's so amazing. I mean, it's something so difficult for me to understand. That you think that people, even Moses, who lived over 3,000 years ago or so, was able to write and read. How much more those of us in 2018? And people are making decisions and debating. The only way you develop and set a civilization and set a country on the trajectory of development is what? Is when you prioritize the people. It's not the road, it's not the buildings, it's the people. Whatever that you are building, whatever that you are structuring, it's the people who are going to manage it. They have to benefit the people. And so if the people live in abject poverty, it's because they've not been prioritized. If not, the attention has never been given that the only commodity, I think, the only treasure that any country has is the people. I think all other things, if the people don't know anything, everything that they put in the soil is useless. The gold, the diamond, the oil, they are useless if the people have not been developed. Why do you think that all the foreigners will come and dig our gold, take our diamond, and take our oil? What do you think? They were developed in their country. That's why they can come here and take that which belongs to you. Yet your people are still debating. Whenever you see any family debating whether they have to send their child to school or not, that family is not ready. The family is not ready for development, for prosperity. People matter. People matter. You pay attention to that which works the best for people. You know, one of the things that you see is all over is what? Churches everywhere in our country. They make a lot of noise. They take advantage of the people. They don't regard the people. They talk to them like they are nothing. They use religion to control all of us. They use culture to control all of us. They use education to control all of us. Go to some of these universities and talk to some of the lecturers, and how they talk to students. It's because we have not worked this basic principle in the culture. The culture must first of all be built on people priority. The culture must be built on that. So if you're a family, the best of decisions that you're making is in the interest of the family. You don't use the money to go and buy a car when the child is sick. You can't do that. You can't use the money to go and build a house when the child is not going to school. When they cannot eat, when they are not clothed, you cannot use the money for any other thing. Those are basics of life. So they say, it's so in your business, prioritize the people. Get the best of interest in people. People matter. You cannot grow anything without people. We can't. And you can only grow it with the quality of people that you have. The quality. So prioritize the people. It's the only thing that is important for me. Any other thing falls on it. Because whatever that you build. Some people say that, the man was a very rich man. He built a lot of things and he left a lot of things for his children. But if he does not prioritize the development of the children, whatever that he leaves for the children, give them just 5 years, everything will be gone. Everything will be gone. because you have to prioritize people, your family, outsiders. When you are walking on the street and you see that boy with the fine yogurt, you just talk to him like anything. It's a treasure. He only looks poor because he doesn't have money. The same boy, if he had money and he had some privileges, it could be anything that you would want to respect. So if you see two people, one is with Land Cruiser, and you are bowing to that person, and you see the other guy who is pulling truck on the road with what they call it, this metal, with scrap, and you just look at them and you suspect them to be thieves and criminals, the value, is not with the boy, it's with your value system. It's with the way you prioritize people. You see somebody well dressed, collected, look rich, you respect them, you pay attention to them, you bow to them. Or you see somebody who you think is poor, you don't talk to them anymore. You don't even smile to them, but you think that they are coming to steal from you. It's a priority, is a developmental issue. So the moment a country, the moment a company, the moment a family starts to prioritize the people, go for the best interest of the people, that's the moment that they start to understand the reason why they live. So prioritize the people is so much important. People matter. There are people who have used millions to build houses that you finish building, you have 10 of them, and you need somebody to stay in. Sometimes you have to beg somebody to come and take care of it for you, because people matter. It takes human beings to do that. It's so important to prioritize people. So much important. Just let it be, the way you talk to people, the way you address people, the way you forgive people, the way you're kind to people. So much important. If you say that you know God and we cannot see this in your life, you don't know him. And that's what they should tell this to a lot of people who are just using religion to talk and to mutilate and to bully people. But for me, if you're really close to God, you'll be seen in his nature. The way you treat people, the kindness, the respect. If you prioritize people, you will not cheat them. You will not lie to them. You will not lie to them. You will not run away with their money. You'll be factual. If you agree on A, you'll be A. If it's B, it's B. You should prioritize people. And there are things that I think should be taught right from the beginning. Right from the beginning. So show genuine interest in people. Don't be fake. And always try to go extra mile to help people. Some people say that when they are doing business, they say that what is in for me. Show interest in people. The rest, it will come. Show genuine interest in the well-being of people. If you have to share something with somebody, don't hide it. If it will help them to become better, share. Because that's how you build value over time. That's how you build greatness over time. If people see you to be self-focused and selfish, they mark you. They mark you. They look at you. There's no need trying to build life all alone. You build life by doing good to people. And every good that you do to people, there are investments. It will come in the future. That's a principle of life. And everybody that you are cheating, they will also come as an investment. But I would prefer that you are good to people. You are good to people and practice it. And you cannot have a life which is so busy that you don't have any time for anybody at all. I'm always suspicious of people where, when they meet people, they are trying to be so much self-important that they look at their time, they look at this. Where are you going? People are important. Listen to the pains of people. Share with them. Whatever that you can do to help people to become, to live in dignity. Whatever that you can do to help people to live out of poverty, out of sickness. Whatever that you can do beyond yourself, do it. Is there anything that you can share Is there anything that you can take to this community? Is there anything that you can help some people? Is there any child that you can help with their school fees? Is there somebody that you can always express how to do it? That's humanity. If you see somebody on the street alone struggling, don't be so much suspicious, because that's what they have told us. We have become so much suspicious and so much self-conscious that we forget that others need our help. And indeed, that is where God lies. The God that you are rushing to meet in church is that neighbor that you didn't pay attention to. That neighbor that you thought they didn't need any help. So listen to the pain of people. If somebody's issue comes to your mind, give them a call, talk to them, ask them. Sometimes it's just asking, how are you doing? Is there anything that I can do to help? Sometimes just that can make a great difference in people's lives. It's important. You cannot just live life only for yourself. It doesn't worth it, actually. It doesn't worth it for you to live all your life focus on only you, your wife, and your children. The reason Africa, I think, continues to struggle is because the people we call the middle class, have lived a selfish life. They have never prioritized people beyond themselves. The reason they say corruption is high is because of people living for themselves. They don't prioritize it. So when they go to the hospital and they see women giving birth on the floor, they think that it has nothing to do with them, because they don't have any value for lives. They don't prioritize people. People don't mean anything to them. So if you see somebody in a critical position, that he can make decisions to make the country better, but he's only looking at what will come to him, it's because in his value structure, nobody told him to prioritize people and to be genuinely interested in the well-being of people. Life is useless if you're only interested in that which is important to you. Life is nothing. The moment you start to show interest, genuine, in people, that is the point that you start to live. As a matter of fact, that's the point that you start to use your brain. That's the point that you start to become wise. When you're talking to people and you're conscious and you address them well, you're talking to people and you bring yourself, the so-called self that you think you have, you bring it. Yes, there's the tendency for people to talk to you anyhow and handle you and trivialize your importance. But what do you need that importance for in the first place? The important thing is that you are able to lift people. You're able to lift people. So people come to you, people get into your presence, they are lifted, they are encouraged, they become better. They feel like they can also go and pursue their dreams. When you converse with people, they should be lit up. They should see better than when they were not talking to you. That's when you start, because people matter. People are important. Whatever that you do, if you have a business and you employ one person, two people, prioritize them. Listen to them. Talk to them. Smile. Crack jokes is important. That's the essence of life. And if we could adapt that, if we could structure that as Africans, we will develop. If we just make that decision that, listen, our people are important to us, and it's not just a left service. People must have good water, they must have good hospitals, they must have good education, good roads. If anything is threatening the lives of our people, we fight against it. That's development, actually. If you hear a lot of accidents are happening on this road, we go and look at it. Is there any engineering problem there? Is it the bad road? Is it the driving? Is it the cars? If the people are the reasons why we make the decisions that we make, and not just the positions that we have, we develop. Because if you go to the market and you see that they are selling the tomato on the floor, they are selling the onion on the floor, and you know the consequences of it, that if you are buying these things from this state and people are going to eat them, then by all means there will be sickness. If you prioritize the people, you'll see these things. And if it's in your power to make any change, you make it. If you see the people who we are throwing to the prisons for no fault of theirs, a lot of them they just made one little mistake. And we just pounce on them and punish them beyond the mistake that they made. Is because we don't prioritize people. We don't have the best of interest at people. We were not trained with it. We were not grown up with it. So the way you talk, it will be seen. Just talk to people to create fear in them. Just shout at people. You just create your face like so that people can respect you. Like the way the police people will stop you, and the way they do their face and they want to talk. It's because they don't know how to prioritize people. People don't mean it much to them. People don't mean much to them. The moment people mean much to you, you address them, and you address them with respect, with kindness, with openness of heart, because you prioritize them. That people, because the thing is, human beings must be respected, must be talked to well. Even if they are guilty of something, they should be respected. There should be some kind of decorum. You cannot just treat people anyhow like that, and handle people anyhow and think that you're going to become successful. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So my name is Obindako. I'm talking about be interested in people. People matter. In the well-being of people, be interested in that. And it's a sign of wisdom. It's a sign of maturity. It's a sign of quality. And life is so much gratifying if the disposition that you use is that you prioritize people and you give importance to people, and you give people second chance. You are kind to people. You are fair to people, and it's beyond your tribe or your race, and it's beyond your school, or whether it's a male or female. It doesn't matter. Once they look like human beings and they are human beings, you show genuine interest in them. That's a sign that you are growing, you're maturing. And if you pick those things and you become any position, you get to any position in society, and you practice that, you change a lot of things there. When people get to critical positions of society and they don't do anything there, it's because they didn't develop that. People don't mean anything to them. People don't mean anything to them. So the more that we can have so-called middle class to prioritize us, we will develop. Because then the attention will be here, and they will be so much uncomfortable with the pain that majority of our people live with. The stress that majority of our people live with. So nations that are building themselves out of poverty are building themselves by prioritizing that which is important to their people. Nations which continue to wallow in poverty and chaos is because people don't mean anything to them. They don't care. If you see a doctor at the hospital, no matter how tired he is, if he has serious attention for people, that's it. It's not like you're a nurse, you work in the hospital and you talk to patients anyhow. Why are you there? It's not a job for people who don't have heart for people, who are not genuinely interested in the well-being of people. So they come with a lot of benefits actually. When you practice that, you develop serious leadership skills. When you prioritize people, it's a base of leadership, and nothing is achieved without leadership. You start to be, it's a fundamental, it's the foundation of wisdom, foundation of leadership. And as a matter of fact, it even has a lot to do with innovation and creativity. Because the moment you are concerned of what goes on with people, what people have to deal with, you start to see things that you can do to help people, and that's how you become successful. So if you're genuinely interested in people, there's a lot that you can do, no matter which level of success that you are. So prioritize people, just like that. If you just be interested in the well-being of people, and people matter. Always don't forget that they mean a lot. People mean a lot. There's a lot that you cannot do if you don't have people. Whether 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't have human beings there, there's a lot that you cannot do. If you go to the stadium, it's all people there. That's why stadium is jubilating. If you go to church, it's people there. If you go to church and you are one person, it doesn't mean anything. When you go to school, you have friends, you have classmates, because people make things happen. People make society. People make families. People make country. you know. So if you can go to a whole desert when there is nobody there, there's no fun there. So where people live, that's where life is. Where people live, that's where life is. So prioritize people, and your spirituality, the so-called spirituality that you have, is seen in how you treat people, how you genuinely love people, how you're genuinely interested in the well-being of people. Your decisions are made because they will benefit people. So if you are hurting somebody, you are destroying somebody, it will show the heart that you have. It will show the heart that you have. So be genuinely interested in people. People matter. People matter. Your children, they matter. Your friends, they matter. The people you see on the street who are struggling, they matter. If you have money on you, give to somebody. Help people. If somebody's business is struggling and you can help, help. If somebody is at the hospital and you can help them, help them. If somebody wants to go to school and you can help them, help them. If you have clothes and you can share with somebody, do it. Maybe you have books, you can share with people. Service to man is service to God. That is true. That is true. That is true. Maybe you are in school, your friend, you see him struggle all the time. He has nobody. And you have money and you're always buying food. Can you help him? Maybe help him with shoe, help him with clothes, whatever that you can do to make life a little bit more comfortable for another person. There's nothing better than that. And when you get to any critical position, don't take advantage of people because you think they are vulnerable. People matter. Be interested genuinely in people and learn to talk to people nicely. Learn to talk to people and address people nicely. It's a great thing. It's a skill. It's maturity. It's the standard. You know, even if you don't like him, talk to him well and address people well. And don't address people because you think he's the president or he's the vice president, so the fakeness. You know, you don't need those things. Just be real. Just be yourself. Just be genuinely interested. Let people see the genuineness of your love and of your heart for people, because people make the difference. Make the difference. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you.